sound subject can't hear. I am the control. I am the type control. I told it. If I come to me, I'm going to test the mirror.
Hello. Okay. Guys, please wait for a moment while we shifting the file on my laptop. அவங்க கேள்வி கேட்கும்போது அந்த இப்ப அவங்க ஒன்லி இதுன்னா அப்ப கிடையாது அந்த கான்வர்சேஷன் இருக்கு ஒன்லி இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் நம்ம பேச முடியாது. ஓகே ஓகே Hello guys, Karthik will be starting now. Who's Suja? Please switch off your cam. Guys, request you please switch off your phone or at least keep it on silent. Mute your speaker. Mute your speaker. Thank you.
Hi guys, sorry for the technical glitch. Venkat last week approached me to make a presentation. I was not sure as to what is the subject that I should take up. When I went home, I realized that I should present what I have done for a lifetime, that is for the last 18 years. That is basically work starting as a management trainee, gradually climbing up the corporate ladder, finally becoming a CFO. This is a journey which I want to share with you, a journey of a finance person in a family managed business. Yeah, my opening comments. For most of the businesses which are run in India, promoted, owned or managed by families, is it possible for an outside professional to play the role of a CFO? Sorry again. Yeah. Opening comments. For most of the businesses which are run in India, promoted or managed by families, is it possible for an outside professional to play the role of a CFO? Is there a requirement for a professional CFO in a family business? Is it possible for a CFO to operate independently and yet win the trust of a family? Finally, how can a CFO make a tangible difference to the family managed business? The challenges for a CFO in a family managed business. The attraction of a CFO to work in a family run business is extremely wide. These are generally not available in companies that are professional and where procedures are set. Family-owned businesses offer an environment where there is less hierarchy. You can walk into the promoter's cabin directly. You have access to the real decision makers. There is less amount of bureaucracy. The organization culture is very different, extremely different. The culture here is that of family first. You either love it, be a part of it, or you just hate it. It is critical for the CFO to become the part of the family. Earning trust, build relationships. This goes beyond the norms of business. An important consideration is the basic value system that we inculcate over our career. Compromising this makes you very vulnerable. To me, this is the biggest hurdle of working in a family-owned business. If you're able to relate to the family values or drive your values and be accepted, you survive and you're also true to your conscience. If there is a conflict here, the results can be devastating. You'll find yourself in an unwanted place of work, you'll compromise, which is even worse. For conflict resolution, options are very much limited in a family business. It's my way or the highway. The above general principles apply not only to the organization internally, but with external stakeholders as well. The way forward. In a typical family-owned business where the owners make all the decisions, being only seen and called as a Bade Babu can be really frustrating. The CFO's job is to bring their professionalism in the decision-making process, to become business partners and a conduit between these external stakeholders and the family, not just a passive listener. The CFO should be able to demonstrate an attention to detail, develop sustainable policies and procedures, balance the company objectives with their own individual goals. Here again, respecting the past while bringing in changes is a prerequisite. What are the transformational processes the CFO needs to follow in a family-run business? I would like to summarize this to the following things. Guys, I've had 6 assignments prior to joining my CFO, and this is what I felt the very first day after each assignment. The wow image of me after the first day in office in each of my previous 6 assignments. Because you've got to manage these. They come in various shapes and sizes, and they are very overbearing. The major problem: distinction between ownership and management. Is there one? I don't think so. In most family-run businesses, the difference is absolutely non-existent. The primary job of the CFO is to set the ground rules. The CFO has to ensure that there is no diversion of funds from the company's account for any personal use, either by the active or the passive members of the family. This discipline has to be started immediately by the CFO as soon as they take up the assignment, because it may never happen during their tenure later in the future. The family initially always tries to overpower the CFO on this aspect. The CFO should be resilient enough to implement the same. The major factor out here is that of corporate governance. It is imperative for the CFO to make the promoters understand the value of corporate governance. We've had examples abroad, Enron and Satyam in India, where the failure of the corporates happened because of non-existence of corporate governance. I'll just give you a very simple solution. Promoters use company money for funding their own personal expenses. What I have done in all my assignments is to create a separate petty cash interest for their personal use, and this I used to withdraw from their own personal account. And this is imperative. Unless and until you don't do this, they will keep on withdrawing company money and use for their own personal thing. Yeah, this is what you feel the very second day when you see the team, the way the records are, and the way the accounting system and the finances. It's an absolute mess. Streamlining finance and accounts. Why is it imperative? Finance is in a mess. Reason? No planning, no budgets, projects started without finance arranged, working capital stuck up in projects, delay in payments to vendors, statutory liabilities not paid on time, extra expenditure on interest and penalties. Solutions. Family managed business wherever I have started off with, have never made or seen a budget. For them, life starts and ends with the opening and the closing bank balances. Primary job in streamlining the finance is goal setting. Budgeting should be mandatory. Should be finalized by the 15th of March for the succeeding financial year. Budgeting is not only OPEX, but it's also even CAPEX. Whatever projects the promoters have in mind, that should be on paper. The cost, the funding pattern, both. The CFO's job is to tie up the funding latest by the end of May for the entire financial year and take disbursements as and when needed. The CFO should estimate enhanced working capital facility, if any, depending on the budget drawn, and obtain a sanction from the bankers latest by the end of May again. Working capital creditors are stretched a lot in family managed businesses. Working capital creditors have to be paid on time and, if possible, avail cash discounts for making prompt and proper payment, and absolutely no default on statutory liabilities. I will just like to digress a bit, sharing an example from one of the companies. It's a sugar company. One more thing I want to emphasize is just making one budget in March, approving it and reviewing it doesn't end the job. Budgeting has to be a dynamic process. I faced this once in my career in a sugar company which is primarily dependent on monsoon, and we had made a budget considering that we'll have a good monsoon. But unfortunately in the financial year 2002-2003 there was a drought, and we had factories in Maharashtra and Karnataka which were severely affected by it. Sugar has two byproducts: bagasse, which is used to generate power; molasses, which is used to make alcohol. So, on account of the drought, the availability of sugarcane for crushing to make into sugar was a question mark. So, unless and until you don't crush sugar, you don't get bagasse and molasses, which are used to generate power and manufacture alcohol. And we were not dynamic enough to make a plan B in case we had a bad monsoon. So from my personal experience, and very much in a family managed business, the CFO should ensure that they have a plan B, and plan B made in advance, so that if plan A doesn't work, they know what to do. After finance accounts, typically in a family managed business, a 31st March P&L is drawn up, the profitability is seen, and after that all the workings are done. There is no discipline of monthly closing of accounts, finalization done only once in a year for the entire financial year, no performance review during the course of the year. There is absolutely no visibility with respect to financial performance of the company. It's not mandatory for the CFO to put in discipline so that this happens on time. The P&L, the balance sheet and cash flow should be done up latest by the 10th of the succeeding month for the preceding month. MIS. MIS is generally neither available, and if it is available, the same is not reliable. The CFO has to set up robust information systems, high quality MIS, management dashboards, not only financial but also operational. MIS should provide visibility of the business performance. Providing monthly MIS latest by the 10th of the succeeding month, including a meaningful comparison between the actuals and the budgets. Team creation and training. The existing team in a family managed business mostly comprises of old-timers who've been in the system for a long time. These people are generally resistant to change. As most of the owners and family FMBs are generally latecomers, the existing employees also follow the pattern set by their masters. The first job is to get a finance team which is proactive. It moves from receiving orders culture to a team which is empowered and self-motivated. For this purpose, you need to identify the low performers. You have to counsel them, offer them opportunities to develop. If that doesn't work, you have to replace them with high potential people. The challenge, however, still remains to attract and retain such resources. You have to impart training to existing employees, both technical as well as for soft skills. The CFO here has to play the role of a mentor and also to lead by example. You have to be really extra careful during your initial stint in the family managed business. Believe it or not, the promoter will definitely have a spice all around you. Any loose talk or off the record comment is an absolute big no. Anything that the CFO says or does reaches the promoter faster than the speed of light during the initial phase. Over a period of time, you can easily find out the informers. You have no choice but to befriend them and to live with them. Once you gain the confidence of the promoter and his team, sky is the limit as far as the growth of the CFO is concerned. Cash is king. As in any other business, the key is to ensure that cash flow is controlled in a manner whereby leakages, if any, are plugged and financial decisions are objectively taken, which is mostly done on impulse in a family managed business. Setting up a rigorous system of cash flow forecast is essential, which needs to be closely monitored on a regular basis. Planning is at a very elementary level from the promoter's side. It is the job of the CFO to ensure that liquidity is sufficient as and when required for the cash. The CFO has to closely monitor the working capital cycle, ensure that the money is unlocked faster. The lenders expect a bigger contribution from the promoter in the project funding. As in a family-run SME business, there are issues related to either financial ratios or furnishing of security. The CFO has to factor the same during the course of cash management. Leveraging technology. The business gets modernized, IT can play a crucial role in enabling business processes and decision making. Very often this requires a significant initial and ongoing investment without an apparent quick payback. Hence, most of the time this is not appealing to the family-owned businesses. But slowly and steadily you got to convince them that this is the way forward for them. The CFO, who most often doubles up as the CIO in such businesses, should clearly set up the IT roadmap along with his colleagues to ensure that the businesses use technology for delivering long-term goals of the business. Getting on board professional consultants. Talent is a big question mark in FMBs. A lot of professionals are hesitant to join FMB still in India. Usually smaller family-run businesses are unable to attract the best of talent that is available in the market on account of different working environment and inadequate compensation as per market standards. What generally people do, or which I have done during the course of my career, is to recruit good professionals on a part-time basis, use their areas of expertise, and they bridge the gap, and so that we can have best practices in the business to the organization. This is immense confidentiality, especially in an FMB. Most family-run business owners are paranoid about confidentiality of information, be it margin, profitability, product, process formulation, or any other business IP. The CFO should respect this requirement and ensure information security across the business verticals. The promoters also do not like information to be given to inactive family members. I've had promoters telling me, like, if his wife calls up, please do not give any information. If his child calls up, please do not part off with any information. So this is not only with external stakeholders but also with inactive family members. You can have instances where the wife of the child of the brother of the promoter fishing for information from the CFO. You need to develop the tact to politely refuse. Yeah. Famous movie of the 1980s, Shakti. This is when the child enters the business. Very much prevalent and a peculiar issue in family managed businesses. Problems, generation gap. Child enters the business after the father has run the same alone for about 2 decades. Child wants to implement a robust ERP, father still happy with Tally. The child wants employees to report at 9, father comfortable with 11:30. The child talks about cash flows, budgets, payback, NPV, IRR, DSF, father only interested in opening and closing cash and bank balance. Child leaves the office at 6, father at 10. 2 teams are built in a single organization, one of the child and one of the father, and both are not in sync, unfortunately. Child wants people to retire at 60, father's team mostly consists of employees who are nearing or above 60. Child wants salary to be paid at the earliest, father likes the delay. Child believes in a professional relationship, father still believes in a master-slave one. Child wants to deal with a new private sector banks, father still prefers old public sector banks. I can go on and on and on for the next 2 hours about this. So what happens to the CFO? The CFO is the person who gets impacted most once the child enters the business. The CFO is pulled in both the directions. They have to tread the path very casually. The CFO has to manage situations considering the sensibilities both of the father and the child. The CFO has to play a big role in transforming the father as the child refuses to change, which I have seen in my roles earlier. The CFO has to educate the father about the best practices and the benefits of the same. The CFO also has to counsel the child about the value systems and the culture which has resulted the father in becoming so successful. The CFO has to touch upon the professional side of to the father and the human side to the child. Unfortunately, the CFO is paid nothing, but it invariably forms part of the job profile. Dealing with investors. Wow, this is absolutely like a boxing ring. Especially if it's in the first investment in a family managed business. The first generation entrepreneurs for FMB are extremely headstrong people who have come from very humble backgrounds. Supremely confident people who have encountered turbulent business cycles in their career and successfully navigated the company during those times. They have never been questioned, nor they have reported to anybody during their working life. The boards of such companies mainly comprise of family members, and even if there are any professionals, they are generally from their community or the friend circle. In case of a fundraise, and if the company is funded by a PC or a VC, all hell breaks loose. The promoter's ego goes for a toss as he is questioned by analysts whose age is lesser than the experience he has. For most of the decisions, the promoter has to get a clearance from the investor, which he is not used to. CFO again has to play a very important role functionally as well as operationally so that the relationship between the promoter and the investor is smooth. The CFO has to ensure that timelines are met as set by the investors and the problems do not escalate to the promoter. The CFO has to liaise with the investors for clearances and ensure that the promoter does not get involved in the same. The CFO takes ownership of the board meeting and the AGM and ensures proper dissemination of information. No compromise on compliances when PEs come on board. In case of sticky situations, the CFO should be objective rather than taking sides. The dynamics of the relationship changes depending upon at what stage the funding has come. Generally, investment in a mature corporate, the investor plays the role of an advisor. However, in case of a startup, the role is more an hands-on approach by the investor. CFO should understand that their job is not to please anybody, but to work hard and diligently to the best of their abilities. Yeah, my favorite is Mr. Bachchan. and multiple roles. Guess you're not just a CFO. If you feel that the role of a CFO in a FMB SME is only related to your core job profile of finance, accounts and taxation, friends, you are in an absolutely wrong place. In the SME sector, particularly if it is an FMB, the CFO plays multiple roles: HR, admin, legal, IT. This is a great learning process for the CFO, which also prepares the ground for them to take the role of a CEO in the future. However, what you get is only education. You shall not be paid a single penny for the extra portfolio you are handling. By default, you become the most important person in the company after the promoter. Yeah, final comments. The CFO in a family-owned business needs to get his hands dirty and actually do things himself, in contrast to his counterparts in MNCs who spend 99% of the time in decision making only. However, the outcome can be immensely satisfying. The CFO here can be justifiably proud of the business transformation they have brought about in strategy, structure, professionalism, accountability and discipline. Thank you, friends.
You're still on. Have you done?
Yeah.
Hi guys, we're starting with the questions. Can you just raise the questions please? So we'll take them one by one. Or else, if you want to mail, I'll be checking with Karthik's email, whichever way. If you're putting your question, you can raise your hand through chat, personal. Please put your questions to Karthik. Any questions? We haven't received any other questions, so thank you guys. I think this was one of the shortest, and I guess by no questions it means either you didn't understand at all. Okay, we got somebody saying something. Yes, questions? Thanks, Murli. Any other questions, please?
Guys, sincerely, I would love to have your feedback. I want to write a book on this.
Yes, Gautam, we'll be sharing the presentation as always. Thanks, Shiva. Okay, so we love your online instant response and appreciation. But I guess the questions are over, and first time we are able to, okay, we got one question. Yes, Karthik.
Shiva has raised a question, how did you handle the auditor? Yeah, sorry, Shiva, good. I guess I missed it out. Generally, what I have done is, whenever you take up such assignments, the auditor is generally from the family. It's somehow related. So what I have done is to ensure that I get somebody not necessarily from the big four, but I ensure that it's a reasonably big size firm which has handled big mandates. So yeah, I make an immediate change in the auditor, not the very first year, but at least in the second year onwards. Yeah, I have one more question. That's from Lavkush. In a FMB business with multiple siblings, how does a CFO manage expectations? Well, I've encountered one in a restaurant business where the twins entered the business with the father. So basically, there were two verticals: one the restauranting and one the catering. So the businesses have to be demarcated, and proper roles have to be assigned to the children who enter the business. It's very important before they take on assignments, roles are clearly marked, and this, the CFO plays an important role along with the promoter. And it's the duty of the promoter also to handhold the children when they come into the business. Feedback, guys, good, bad, ugly. I'll be there for 3 more minutes. Shoot any questions if you have. Thanks, guys. I'm seeing no responses. I guess I'll wind up now. Okay. I just had one. Yeah. From Lavkush again, you mentioned about the speed of growth. How would a CFO manage this when the father is conservative and son is a risk taker? Well, I touched upon this during my presentation. When the child enters the business, like the son refuses to change, but it's the duty of the CFO to make the father change. It's a slow process, but ultimately the father realizes value over a period of time, and the father aligns with the son's goals. Thank you. Anything else, guys? I guess I'll wind up now. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.